question really facing all businesses right now is how will they survive this phase? When there is social distancing, there is lockdown, there are measures being taken by various governments to ensure that COVID-19 doesn't spread. And these are completely imperative. There's no working around them. But then how do businesses, especially small businesses, survive this? Now, one recent survey of 8,500 unique startups and small businesses has shown that 48% are already facing supply disruption. There is a fear of loss of jobs, of entire businesses shutting down. And remember, this is a sector which employs over 100 million people. So what can be done to save small businesses? What should the government do at this point, and how are they going to deal with it? To speak on this, I'm joined today by Archana Garodia Gupta, former chair FICCI MSME committee and director of Touchstone Gems and Jewelry. Praveen Khandelwal, Secretary General of the Confederation of All India Traders, is also joining us today, as is Rajnish Goenka, Chairman of MSME Development Forum. Welcome to all of you, and thank you for speaking with us on this show. Ms. Garodia, let me begin by just getting your take on how deep the pain really is. We know that there are big businesses also suffering, especially in hospitality, tourism, etc. But what is the kind of impact we're seeing on medium and small businesses?
Well, the impact is very severe, It is, for us, for example, it is the worst that we've ever faced in our lifetime. So what has happened is that, especially for retail, very often the revenues have become almost zero for many businesses. And so they may have resources for maybe covering a month or month and a half, because anyway, small businesses are not cash rich. But after that, even if they shut down their businesses, there are certain overheads that need to be paid. Your interest payments are there, and you don't want to fire staff which has been there with you for such a long time. So, your salaries are there, your utility bills are there. And I think most businesses are just looking, they have no idea where they're going to fund all of this, because they cannot see an end period to, when this is going to come back to normal. So it's very, very deep, the problem, and you cannot afford to have all these businesses shut down.
Absolutely not. But then what really can be done? Let me just get a sense from Praveen Khandelwal as well. I know retailers are, maybe bearing the brunt of this as people don't step out. Shops are being shut unless they're, providing essential supplies, and that is a need of the hour. It's not safe for these shops to be open or these businesses to even be running. Many have to work from home, and that's not always possible in certain sectors and industries. What is the contingency plan right now? What is the kind of feedback you're getting from members of your association?
Well, to maintain supply chain across the country effectively, we have advised our traders across country. We have about 7 crore traders, that is 70 million traders, and having a workforce of 450 million people. So we have advised the traders across country to ensure that there should not be any panic buying. Since last a week or so, we are witnessing a phase where consumers are very panicky and they are indulging into panic buying. If panic buying goes on, then our supply chain, which is expected to last for another 20 to 25 days, will be dry in a very short period, which will be disadvantageous for the country. So therefore, we have advised our traders that whosoever customer they found indulge into panic buying, just motivate them, tell them, assure them that there is going to be no dearth of any supplies in future, and they should desist from panic buying. So this is one aspect which we have asked our traders. But on the other hand, the corporate malls, we have seen a system where in corporate malls, the people are purchasing things like anything. So we have asked the government to ask the corporate retailers also to to have some kind of rationing on the purchases by the consumer. Unfortunately, as Archana rightly said, that retailers are at the receiving end as of now. There is a very short footfall of very less footfall of consumers in the market, and since last 10 days, if I compare, we have seen a loss of business to the tune of 30 to 35%. Customer is not moving in physical market. That is one another factor. So therefore, but in spite of all these things, we are extending all kind of help to the government so that this coronavirus may not enter into a stage of community transmission. Of course, today the numbers are very high and very alarming. Therefore, we have decided that the Delhi markets will remain closed for next 3 days from tomorrow. So we also want to ensure that there should not be any community transmission.
No, but Mr. Khandelwal,
so we are alive to our social responsibility also.
That there is supply?
We are alive.
Yes, but absolutely, that's what I was going to come to, because at the same time you will need to provide supplies, otherwise people will start panicking, and I don't want people watching this right now to panic thinking that all shops will be shut. In Mumbai, Delhi, in all major cities, the orders are that those shops selling groceries or medical supplies will remain open. Will that be assured?
I can assure you, because we are in direct touch with the domestic producers, and we have asked them to produce more and more goods, because that is the only alternative with us, because we are not going to have any imports from any country. So therefore, we have to depend upon the domestic production. So we have asked the domestic producers to utilize their spare capacity as well, and we have requested the government to give some kind of package to domestic producers, so that their total capacity, or we can use their optimum capacity to produce the goods. And as far as the groceries are concerned, as far as the medicines are concerned, or dairy products are concerned, I think India is self-sufficient in domestic production. And if a helping hand is provided to domestic producers, I think our supply chain will remain in position, and there will not be any such situation when any market, when any commodity becomes dry in supply chain. So we are taking all kind of precautions. We are as I told you, we are in daily touch with the domestic producers, so that we should keep the supply chain alive. That is a big question for us, because we are the 7 crore traders are the only contact, the first contact point for 130 crore people in the country. So we have to serve 130 crore people. So therefore, we know our responsibility, and we are taking all efforts and all measures so that our supply chain may not get dry.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. These are the people on the front lines as well, ensuring that there is supply, ensuring that people don't go into panic mode, and I'm sure that they will do what they need to. Let me go across to Mr. Goenka. We've spoken so far on the show on the intense pain that this space is feeling. Now, we've had messages from the Prime Minister, from Chief Ministers of State, saying please don't sack employees, don't cut pay while they are on this quarantine kind of situation, while everyone has to sit from home, even if your business or your revenues reduce. That is a noble thought. How easy is it going to be, and what kind of support do you think, Mr. Goenka, is required from the government at this point?
See, MSMEs of India, the small scale sector, around 6.66 crore MSMEs, they can serve as a army of India, because as Mr. Khandelwal was saying, that if we have only big problem is the funding and finance. In this situation, lot of our orders, export orders are being either cancelled or delayed. So if at this stage government comes in and banks support MSMEs by delaying their loan payments, by increasing their limits by 10% of their previous year, giving delaying NPA actions on them, giving some packages on the funding. So this MSME sector can turn into a warrior and the army of India at this situation, because we MSMEs have the power to sustain for few months, but we need some support. We don't want to take away our employees. But only thing is that at this stage, some income tax GST delays should be, some packages should be provided to us. Our payments from the government and from other sectors should come in. We should be given the. So secondly, this situation can be used as an opportunity also by our people, by our MSMEs. Because like earlier people used to say that Indian population is a liability on India. But our government, our Prime Minister, he has made it as an asset. Now this situation, we are mostly dependent on raw materials and other things on China and some other countries. So this situation, our MSMEs can develop domestic products and raw materials and convert them. But only some support from the government in various sectors is required, because otherwise, in any case, if it is not provided, government is going to lose. So at this stage, if government comes in, handshakes with the MSMEs, they can feed the supplies, as Mr. Khandelwal is saying, that we can take care of the supply chain.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will.
Produce more for our people in India.
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Goenka. It's a good thought. I just want to bring to the notice of people that this is what we've been talking about since the trade war between US and China began. That our small and medium businesses can drive that kind of change, increase our exports in this new world order. We are seeing now a situation where first we have to survive this. I just want to show our viewers what Union Minister Nitin Gadkari is quoted to have said, where he said MSMEs are on the verge of collapse because of non-payment of dues of about 6 lakh crore rupees by government and private sectors. Ms. Archana, the first call would be to clear these dues, let some cash flow come in. What other support do you think MSMEs need right now?
See, countries across the world have come out with plans to support small businesses through this COVID situation. So this unpaid dues by government is a very uniquely Indian problem, and of course that liquidity injection into the system would be a big support. But I would like to suggest some concrete steps that the government can take. The first would be to increase the CC limit, that normally it is 20% of turnover is allowed as CC limit. Government should raise that to 30% and notify it. Essentially make the CC limit 1.5 times of what it is, so that the MSMEs can survive for the next 2-3 months. You see, the problem is strange because some MSMEs which are producing essential products have a lot of demand. But the bulk of MSMEs have no demand suddenly, the export has faltered, retail sales have faltered, e-commerce has faltered. So for them, they need money, they need funding for the next 2-3 months. So if you increase the CC limit, that is one. The second I would recommend, which Canada and other countries have done, is defer all term loan and mortgage payments. Because a lot of people have taken money on their houses or against properties to fund their businesses, and they will be unable to pay their mortgages. The third is that let the banks have the flexibility to work with their customers and reschedule case by case. Just now there are very stringent requirements for reschedulement. Let the government ease that up and let the bank take the call, because the bank knows the customer the best. The fourth point I would like to suggest is that a moratorium or a delay of 3 months should be put on utility bills, because that is also a very heavy charge, electricity and things like that. Another point is to defer the tax payment dates by at least 3 months. Some countries have done it for 3 months, some countries have done it for 6 months. So that itself will again inject a substantial liquidity in the hands of the MSME. Some governments have set up funds to refinance unsecured loans made to the MSMEs. So government can strengthen the NBFCs and banks and encourage them to make loans to the MSME to tide them over this period. I'm not even talking about the cost of funds, because that is something that will be done later. I'm not even talking about profitability of the MSMEs. Here, as it's a war situation. So the first thing is to keep the businesses going so that they don't fire the workers. So these are some suggestions I'm giving for increasing the liquidity of the MSMEs. UK government is actually giving out cash grants, but I think that is something, just making bank finance easily available will help substantially.
Some excellent points there. And Praveen Khandelwal wants to come in as well. These are practical, detailed, specific points that Ms. Archana has put out. Would you like to add to that, especially for retailers? And can there be an assurance that there will be an attempt by the associations that you all represent and are connected with to not cut jobs, not cut pay at this time when it's going to be tough for everyone? We really can't afford a huge part of the informal sector suddenly finding themselves with no wages.
Tamanna, let me remind you that we the traders have a track record that whenever there is a calamity in the country, trade section is the first section who stand by with the government. So today also we are completely in relations with the government. We stand by in solidarity, and I can assure you that no trader in the country will take any advantage of the situation. That is point number one. Whatever suggestions Archana has made, these are very beautiful suggestions, and we have already submitted these kind of suggestions to the Commerce Ministry when we had a meeting yesterday. Beside these suggestions, my one suggestion would be that granting of Corona cash loan to the tune of say 50,000 or 1 lakh or 2 lakh or 3 lakh of rupees to the small traders, because they are the real people, those who really want to have funds, and they are not cash rich. So therefore, Corona cash loan could act as a stimulus for the small traders, those who are delivering the goods in rural areas or semi-rural areas or semi-urban areas or in tier 2 or tier 3 or tier 4 cities. So therefore, this is my recommendation. And you were very concerned about the employees who are working with us. Through your channel, I can assure the nation that we employ 450 million people in the country, and not even a single person will be retrenched. I can tell you with authority, we have advised the traders across country not to retrench even a single people, and come what may, we are in an adverse situation, but even then the traders will bear the loss, and wages of not even a single person will be cut on this account. This I can assure you as a responsible spokesman of a nationwide association. And as I said, we know our responsibility. We are alive to our responsibility. And we will prove that the traders across the country, the supply chain in the country is the best in the world. And that we will prove, we will do.
Yes. Yes. No, in fact, that those are reassuring words. I hope it actually happens practically. But remember, no one can take a hit indefinitely. The government will have to come in. Some excellent suggestions have been made on this show. I hope those who need to make those decisions are listening. And with that, I want to thank all of you for joining us on this discussion where we were talking about what the MSME sector needs to do and what it needs from the government to tide over this time of crisis. As we wrap this edition of the India Development Debate at the end of a very, very tough week for all of us, for all Indians, we have in a span of 1 week discovered that we need to find new ways to run our jobs, our lives, protect our families, restricted our movements from outside our homes. We have to now protect our elderly, our young. We have to make sure everything is running smoothly, and we also have to stay positive. So let me end by a positive message. Over the next couple of days, over the weekend, take some time out to think about something else, to increase a skill, to improve something, watch something you didn't watch before, find a new way of entertaining yourself and reaching out to those close to you. Maybe calling people you haven't called in a long time. Find ways to refresh your mind and gear up for the big challenges ahead. We have to stay positive. We have to fight this one out. With that, I want to thank all of you for joining us on the show this evening. We'll see you back here Monday.